I am Alyson McGregor. I graduated from LaSalle in 1991. My career journey after graduating from LaSalle, I went to the University of New Hampshire for college, for undergraduate. And from there, I moved to Boston to be a part of the medical school, buzz over there. There's lots of medical schools in Boston, and I wanted to become a doctor. So I started working in a lab at Tufts as a technician, lab technician. And I started volunteering at the Boston City Hospital Emergency Department in the evenings. And then I started to work towards my master's degree at BU, a master's in medical science. And from there, I started medical school at BU, and then went to Brown University at Rhode Island Hospital as an emergency medicine resident, and then stayed on for almost 15, 18 years at Rhode Island Hospital as an emergency physician. And so I really enjoyed my time there. I enjoyed from Rhode Island. I enjoyed starting at LaSalle, kind of getting some education, coming back to Rhode Island, and really being a physician of the community. That was really special for me. Well, right now I am in Greenville, South Carolina. I just moved here 2 years ago. So I am a professor of emergency medicine. So I still work in the emergency department here. I work in a trauma center. I teach residents and medical students. I do research on sex and gender and women's health-based issues. And I'm also the Associate Dean of Faculty Affairs and Development at the University of South Carolina School of Medicine, Greenville. Greenville is amazing. It's
Good.
it's warm and it's sunny. So sorry, Rhode Islanders. It is really lovely. The
Mm.
town is so up and coming, and it's a new medical school. We've been around for about 11 years, so there's so much opportunity for growth. And so my associate dean job is really to make sure that the faculty are developed and engaged, and so when they interact with the medical students, there's a really good relationship, and everyone feels like the clinical learning environment is excelling. So it's really wonderful. It's wonderful to do some academics as well as still see patients in the emergency department. So when I finished emergency medicine residency and I stayed on as faculty, it's an academic institution, so you're affiliated with Brown, and so there needs to be some research that you do. And I started to realize that there were biases against women in our medical system that were hidden and large. And so I discovered really where that came from. It came from the fact that when we did all of our original research on cancer and heart disease, that we enrolled men, and then we applied that result to both men and women. And so as I started to have that, wow, I can't believe this. I need to research this. I was starting to say, okay, like, how can I get people to know that this is a thing? How can I change the face of medicine? That's a big task. And so TED Talks were really becoming popular then. And the TED Talk Providence, TEDx Providence had started to really sort of, they were in their second year. And I asked my husband and my best friend to recommend me, and they liked this topic, and so I was chosen. So never be afraid to nominate yourself or have your close ones nominate for you. And then I thought, okay, this is it. This is my moment. And I tried to create a story that would be really resonating to the audience of anybody.
Mhm.
So that was the challenge. And I had about a month in advance to do that, and a month a head start. And so I worked on that for every day that month, and then just went on there. And and nailed it. And then the TED.com saw that it had a lot of views locally, so they decided to pick it up and put it on their main website. And that's where it just sort of took off on its own. And it's been a wonderful avenue for me to um, uh, teach people, have that sort of aha moment, have the elevator speech. You watch this. Now, what else is going on? Like, what else is happening? How did this happen? Where are we now? And it really was the conversation starter that I needed. I think the controversy was early on, and it's similar to the challenges that I had in speaking to this, at 10, 15 years ago, which was people didn't want to hear that they were doing things wrong. And so that is not something, when I say that, the research that you're doing, you need to design the study differently to include men and women and to analyze that data separately. That's like, wait a minute, who are you, to tell me that I'm doing things wrong? And then when I was telling, instructors that they should update their materials to include, differences between men and women, that was the initial sort of hurdle. But now that we're so far along, and the NIH, the major governing body for funding for research, says that you must include sex as a biological variable in your application for funding. There's now a huge amount of just evidence that's just exponentially increasing, that it's not about me anymore. It's about science. There's been so many amazing discoveries about the differences between men and women that you really can't go back in time and say it doesn't matter anymore. So I definitely feel like we're in a new space. If you go into science and medicine, you must evolve, because medicine and science evolves and we have to evolve with it. That's the whole point of science, is to think of new ways and find new discoveries. So I feel like that was an issue in the past, and now it's just about getting the knowledge base out there. It's just about having that domino effect of really letting our top researchers and our teachers, and just the general public understand that we are different from our cells and our DNA on out. I definitely felt like, my growth and maturity happened at LaSalle, in those formidable years. And I think about what it must be like for those poor teachers to be with all of these individuals that are going through adolescence. What a challenging time. And I was very grateful that there was a sense of community. I went to a Catholic grammar school. And so really, and that was a very good experience for me and my family. And I wanted that same sort of community feel. But I also wanted a rigorous college prep high school, because I knew I wanted to apply to medical school. So that's, really where LaSalle helped prepare me for that. It gave me rigorous coursework that would prepare me to start to do pre-med. And then there was an emphasis on, character development. And for me, that was when I joined sports, women's sports, for the first
Mhm.
time in LaSalle. I am not considered athletic at all, and I didn't consider myself athletic then. But to actually join soccer and volleyball, and the coaches then were so supportive, that community of those women that I was in those sports with, I am still involved with them today. I still meet and see them at least on a yearly basis with text or on social media. So that created a really good foundation for me, a healthy foundation in adolescence, along with some curricula that would be challenging, that I could be, well prepared for in pre-med and college. So I'm grateful for those two things, especially. I'm so incredibly proud that we have reached this milestone for women at LaSalle. And when I was a freshman, the senior class was the first class of women that were enrolled. So I feel like I was on the cusp, and it was really something special. I would like to empower women at LaSalle to really excel. So in other words, if you encounter barriers, you must believe that they are surmountable. For instance, when I first entered medical school, I was part of a minority of women compared to the men that were enrolled. When I first started emergency medicine residency, which was very male dominated, um, I was in the minority of women during that time. When I took my job at Rhode Island Hospital, I was told, "Oh, did you meet the other woman who has a faculty position?" There was one other full-time woman. And
Mm,
so when I think about that, and then I think about now, and I say, "Oh, okay, well, we've changed. We've evolved to the point where men and women make up about 50% each of medical school enrollments. And there's much more women going into emergency medicine, and so many successful emergency medicine attending physicians. However, women are less likely to advance to full professor, less likely to advance to being chairs of departments, to being deans of medical schools, to being presidents of university. So those numbers have evened out, but only on the front line. And so, I really feel like until we have a fair portion of women in leadership positions, that the male-centric rules of engagement will not change in our favor. And so I would like to empower women. We've made it through the front gate, and we need to really feel as though we belong in positions of leadership and power to bring diversity to these positions.